What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly update. So there's lots of exciting news to go over this week. Got all kinds of stuff coming up. We've got rumors on a new S2000. We have talks about an all-wheel drive Mustang, some updates to the Jaguar F-Pace SVR, and all kinds of other stuff. So first, that headline story here, a new rumor about the Honda S2000. Now it seems like there's been rumors over the past several years, so don't put too much weight into this yet. But this comes from Forbes, and so they have a new report this week claiming to have a source close to Honda that claims that Honda is seriously considering making a new S2000 and claims that the 20th anniversary prototype that was shown back in January at the Tokyo Auto Salon, they say that's proof that they are interested in the idea again. So the report goes a little off the rails though, and claims that it would be using an aluminum and carbon fiber structure to keep it under 3,000 pounds. And that would definitely make it much more expensive, even adjusted for inflation, than the old S2000. They also claim that Honda is considering putting the Type R engine in it and boosting it to 350 horsepower. Also seems like a stretch and kind of different from the ethos that the S2000 was going for with the high-revving, naturally aspirated engines. So that's a little And then lastly, they claim it's going to be using the Civic Type R's manual transmission as well, which is set up for transversely mounted engines, and to adapt it and modify it so that it works with a longitudinal engine like you see in sports cars, would basically be reworking it into being a brand new transmission essentially. And so all those things make it seem like it's, a hard thing to grasp as actually being legitimate with this report. Now, there's a couple little areas where this could potentially work that I envision. First, though, I will say I've actually sat down at dinners with Honda whenever I've been on various Honda launches, and I've sat down with some of their executives and said, when is the new S2000 coming? Please, everyone wants the new S2000. And they're enthusiasts. A lot of the people that I know that work in Honda and Acura, they're car enthusiasts. They want a new S2000 as well, but they're like, we can't justify the business proposition. That's what they've told me in the past. Now, that was a couple of years ago. Maybe things have changed. I don't know. But I think it's just very difficult to justify this, especially without a partnership. Even Mazda partnered up with Fiat for the Miata and the, Fiat 5 or the Fiat Spider, So there's that. I mean, you have, of course, the Subaru partnership with Toyota for the BRZ and the 86. Of course, Toyota also partnered up with BMW. Everyone hated that. And so the only possible way I could see this working, one, I don't think it would come with a gas engine. I think they would do some type of electric thing, possibly if they were to do something. I would love to see, something that's just a reworked version of an old S2000. That'd be amazing. I just don't think something like that would, survive, especially considering the rumor is saying this wouldn't arrive until the 2024 model year. So it would be the 25th anniversary of the original S2000. I mean, by that point, you're talking about you got less than 5 years before some countries want to start going full EV. And, if you're going to make this a global model and try and sell as many as possible, you don't want something with a short lifespan already on it. So, I mean, that's a whole thing. But as far as electric stuff goes, that could potentially be a way they could go, because Honda does have that EV partnership with General Motors for platforms. And that's mostly just to build electric people movers with General Motors. But maybe Honda could talk GM into reviving like the Saturn Sky. Obviously, they couldn't use the Saturn name. They also was the Pontiac Solstice, also a name they couldn't use. But if they could kind of rebrand one of those as kind of like a Chevy model or something, it could be a fun little thing. Obviously, I don't think it would make sense to bring that under the Camaro branding or anything like that. But maybe if they could talk GM into doing a new electric little vehicle based on this platform, and then Honda gets a version or something. Maybe something like that. I doubt there'd be anything that'll actually be a proper successor to an S2000, though. I would love to be proven wrong. I hope that Honda has changed their tune and found a way to justify the business case since then. But, the automotive landscape we're in currently, I just don't think is viable. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. And interesting to think about nonetheless. In some more plausible news, but still a pretty crazy report, Ford Authority interviewed the Mustang brand manager about the future of the Mustang and whether they'd offer it with all-wheel drive. And this has been something that's been dabbled in the past. This isn't totally fresh as far as, a report goes, but this is a new interview. And in this interview, the executive's response was, as you know, the Challenger has all-wheel drive. We're always looking at different kinds of performance, but we have nothing to announce at this moment. which kind of sounds like a confirmation without confirming something. You would think if they would be like, oh, we have no plans to do it, or something like that, they could just shoot it down very easily. But they didn't. And that's pretty telling to me. I think it kind of makes sense, and we know that there will eventually be an all-electric Mustang for the normal two-door Mustang. And chances are that would have some type of electric all-wheel drive setup, much like the Mach-E. I don't think doing the next generation Mustang body on the Mach-E platform will be viable. Maybe it could be adapted. I don't know, but that doesn't seem super realistic. What I do find pretty realistic, though, is that they could do something like an all-wheel drive hybrid setup. Ford several years back confirmed and teased a hybrid Mustang was coming, and then we never heard anything. So I'm not sure if they're going to maybe be using like the power boost thing they're using in the F-150, put that same transmission and stuff in the Mustang to give it an electrified component in that way, or what. But Autoblog actually pointed out that Ford has actually already patented a setup like having an electric front axle and then still having power sent to the rear from a gas engine. They patented something like that back in 2017 already. So it seems reasonable to assume that they could have figured that out here for the next generation Mustang, which we know is coming in 2023 calendar year, I believe, is when we're expecting to see that. So, or I think it's the end of maybe 2022 as a 2023 model. But regardless, it's still a couple years away here. So we'll have to wait and see. But it sounds like they're at least looking into it if they haven't fully committed to it yet. It seems like it's something they're definitely interested in. And that would certainly help the Mustang to sell in better numbers, to keep it alive for a longer period of time. If you can then justify it to people in the snow belt that says, well, I can't drive rear-wheel drive in the snow. I did for several years with Mustangs and BRZs and everything else. But, for a lot of people that just need all-wheel drive, want all-wheel drive, for that peace of mind, they would have this again as being an option, which is cool. So we'll have to wait and see on all that, but seems like they're doing it as far as how I read that. But speaking of the Mach-E, though, for some official news, Ford has revealed the higher performing version of the Mach-E called the Mach-E GT Performance Edition. So pretty simple naming there. It builds on the regular GT edition, and we've already kind of seen it because we have these unique wheels and stuff which were shown at launch, but now we find out that is part of this performance edition. So it builds on the regular GT version and ups the torque from 600 pound-feet to 634 pound-feet. That doesn't sound like much, but it manages to reduce the 0 to 60 time from 3.8 seconds to 3.5 seconds, making it only 0.2 seconds slower 0 to 60 than a GT500. Obviously, once you get up to some higher speeds, the little electric car is going to run out of steam and the GT500 will prevail. But at least from a dig, it could actually give a GT500 a run for its money, which is impressive. It's going to be doing 235 miles of range on a full charge from its 88 kilowatt hour battery, which is 15 miles less than the regular GT. So you get that extra performance, but you also lose a little bit of range. It also gets unique 20-inch wheels on 245 wide Pirelli summer tires. It's 245 wide. That means it's definitely not going to handle as good as the GT500, that's for sure. It's going to get a unique gray grille. Massive 19-inch Brembo brakes are huge. And then it also gets a Magnum Ride suspension like a regular Mustang gets, and so that's cool. There's no pricing for the Performance Edition, but the regular GT is going to be starting at $62,700 before tax credits and stuff. And so yeah, those are going to be available. I think they're saying late summer 2021 is what they're saying for the GT and the Performance Edition. So interesting to see that. Jaguar this week, though, has revealed a proper performance SUV with a loud V8 with the refreshed F-Pace SVR for the 2021 model year here. And so it's been given more than just the same big screen that I've been covering on the past few weekly updates here with other Jags are getting, this new 12.3-inch display. This does get that screen, but then goes actually with some more significant mechanical changes here for 2021. So the SVR gets an upgrade for its 5-liter supercharged V8, which I'm so thankful it continues to use. I think this and the F-Type are the only ones that still use it. But anyway, it now has 12 more pound-feet of torque for a total of 514 pound-feet. And that's combined with a new torque converter from the Jaguar XE Project 8 and a dynamic launch mode that allows it to do 0.3 seconds faster for its 0 to 60, now at 3.8 seconds. So the same as that Mach-E GT. And so top speed is also 2 miles per hour higher at 178 miles per hour. The suspension, steering, and brakes have also all been retuned and reworked to make them all better. The looks have also been changed, and some of those changes are carryover from the regular F-Pace, which I already talked about a few weeks ago. But, so that's the stuff like the new headlights, taillights, all that. But, of course, the SVR gets unique bumpers and all that. Inside, it also does get some nicer materials to go along with that new 12.3-inch screen. There's also wireless charging and a restyled center bin, restyled steering wheel, shifter, climate controls, all that stuff has been restyled. And yeah, that should be arriving soon, but there's no updated pricing for those yet. And back to some speculation for a minute here. So, Best Car Magazine in Japan has some company insiders at Mazda supposedly that claim that Mazda is going to be aiming to push the new CX-5 that's coming in a couple of years even more upmarket to be a closer competitor to stuff like the Mercedes GLC and the BMW X5. That's the quote in the story, but clearly they must be talking about the X3 because the X5 competes with the Mercedes GLE, not the GLC. But anyway, so basically consider an X3 or a GLC size thing for the new CX-5 here. And so they're planning to push it up market as far as having the right bones to actually compete with those German competitors. So they're going to have a rear-wheel drive based platform. We've already known about that. They've already confirmed it's a rear-wheel drive based platform with a straight six longitudinal engine, so it's going to have a longer nose and stuff, and use a new straight six engine. And there's going to be, I think, a naturally aspirated and a turbo variant from what I remember reading. And so they've already confirmed they're working on that. That's actually already going to be revealed first in the new Mazda 6 most likely. And also probably in the new next-gen Lexus IS because they're in a partnership and will probably share that platform for Lexus as well. So they're all going to get that. But and of course, since even though it is rear-wheel drive biased and rear-wheel drive based, it's going to be an all-wheel drive option, at least for the CX-5. It might even just be all-wheel drive as standard. But anyway, so the report claims that that platform is going to help them to kind of raise it to being more of a luxury status vehicle. And of course, the interior and the exterior are also going to be a little bit more luxurious to go along with that. The report also claims that a coupe-style variant will also be offered, and they claim it's going to be called the CX-50. But my guess, based on what they are doing with the CX-3 and the CX-30, is that you're probably going to see the new CX-5 just be called the CX-50. If they do a coupe version, they'll most likely call that the CX-60, I'm guessing, and that would especially line up with the new Mazda 6 if that comes. The 6 is the actual sedan, then you have the CX-60, which is the coupe, and then you have the CX-5 or CX-50 as being the normal SUV. So that's my guess. But Best Car seems to think the CX-50 will be the coupe version. Anyway, regardless of the name, they say that the new vehicle won't be arriving until the 2023 calendar year, putting it over 2 years away for us here still. So, going to be a little bit of a wait, but sounds promising. And we've heard some of this stuff before, but it really is like Mazda is committing. I mean, they're doing a whole new platform, new transmission, new engine, all that kind of stuff to really actually be a luxury brand. And I mean, it's very impressive already. I just hope they don't raise the prices up so much that people, are like, well, I could get a Mercedes for the same price. Why would I buy a Mazda? So I just hope they don't price themselves out of competition too much. But I think they're headed in a great direction here, and I'm excited. Hyundai this week has some pretty big news. They revealed their eGMP platform. This is their electric vehicle platform this week that they revealed. And so it's similar to GM's Ultium platform, where you have batteries stored in similar pouches, and the platform being rear-wheel drive based and being this skateboard kind of thing that you can then add various bodies onto. And so the front motor is also going to be an option here on this to give it all-wheel drive if you'd like. And so that front motor, they also say, will be able to disconnect from the front axle for better efficiency when the all-wheel drive isn't needed. They didn't reveal any exact output numbers for these motors or batteries, but they say that on this platform, a car could be capable of a 3.5 second 0 to 60, 162 mile per hour top speed, and 311 miles of range on the European test cycle. So that range is really the only disappointment. Those other numbers sound great, but the lower range is really a downside, with GM claiming like 400 miles on their thing. I think they even upped it to 450. And, a lot of the other stuff, Tesla, of course, is doing well over 300 miles of range in their SUVs and stuff. And then you also even have like the Mustang Mach-E I was just talking about. With its longest range version, it was actually EPA certified this past week or two to do exactly 300 miles of range. So, and that's on the EPA testing. The European testing cycle, which is they're claiming 311 miles, that would be lowered for the EPA range to be under 300. So it's just going to come out of the gate being a little less competitive as far as the range goes. Hopefully that's something they can address and improve over time, but that's just, the one little thing I noticed here. But anyway, they say this platform also supports fast charging for an 80% charge in 18 minutes. They're also working on various outputs for various power levels. I think they said there's going to be 3 different outputs they'll have. And then the first vehicle to use this platform will be the Ioniq 5, which is going to be their whole electric sub-brand I covered in a past weekly update. They're going to have the Ioniq 5, 6, and 7 are coming. And so the 5, all the odd-numbered ones will be SUVs, then even-numbered ones will be, sedans. And so we're going to get the 5 first, then the 6 sedan, and then the 7 SUV down the road. And so the 5 is going to look like the 45 concept that we saw last year, but will be a little bit lifted up so they can classify it as a crossover. But it should be something pretty bold looking, and then that'll arrive in 2021. So sometime here in the next 12 months, and then the other Ioniqs will be coming in 2022 for the 6, and then the 7 will be coming in 2024. So. They also added too that they're going to continue to develop front-wheel drive EVs based on the same platform as the Kona EV and the Niro EV that they already have. So there will be some others. It's not just all going to be on this one platform. So that's an interesting thing to note. But so cool to hear that. And the last few stories this week are just quick little updates. And so first, Bentley has introduced a tweed interior trim option for all of its models. And I personally love tweed, and I think it looks fantastic, but I still think I'd prefer wood in a Bentley. But tweed is very British as well. They also recently introduced a stone trim in this area you can get too if you really don't care about weight. It's so funny. At one extreme, you can have actual stone in your car, and on the other end, they'll give you carbon fiber if you want. It's kind of funny. But it's all about the customization and people doing what they want. I love that they give people so many options. Also, the other little story here, Audi, they're doing, it seems like every other week there's a new edition of the Audi R8 that I'm talking about. Just this year, for example, there's already been the 30-unit limited edition, then the Green Hell edition, then the new rear-wheel drive version that they came out with, and now there's the rear-wheel drive Panther edition. So this one is exclusively for the United States. They're only doing 30 of this one as well. And it gets Panther black paint, carbon fiber accents, and red and black wheels. The interior gets red leather seats. There's no mechanical changes, and pricing starts at $186,495. And I know they're only doing 30 of them, but I just wonder, who gets excited about this kind of stuff? I'm sure there's a way you can spec a normal black Audi R8 to have red leather seats, and you can do the wheels yourself. Yes, you don't have a limited edition, but I don't know how many people really care whenever there's a limited edition every other week. It just seems kind of pointless to me. If people want an R8, they're going to buy an R8. Offering them one in black with red leather seats and different colored wheels, I don't think is going to push anyone over the edge to get an R8. So I don't know. It is what it is. Little mini rant there for you guys. But anyway, that's going to be arriving here soon. Acura this week also has a little bit of a head scratcher. They teased the production version of the MDX this week. And so they just showed us the prototype, which looked production ready. And I mean, there might be a few very tiny changes, but just seems kind of funny they're teasing it again. It's like in shadows and stuff. We don't know what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. You already showed us, a couple of months ago. We know what it looks like. There's no reason to really hide it. But anyway, we'll see the full thing on December 8th in its full production version that actually will be going on sale next year. So I'll go over all those details on the new MDX next week. Nissan has a similarly confusing little teaser this week for the 2021 Kicks, which has already been fully revealed internationally for months. So here's the teaser we are getting, and ta-da! Here's the new version, which is already revealed internationally. So let the cat out of the bag for Nissan on that one, but it's all over the internet. I don't know why they're teasing it. And so anyway, it's most likely we'll get an identical vehicle to this international version, and the teaser seems to reinforce that. And so anyway, the full US reveal will also be happening next week on December 8th, and I will go over the details on it then. And the last little story this week is that Mini has confirmed that it's working on an electric John Cooper Works after that exact car was spied just a few weeks ago. It was all over the internet, and I mentioned it a few weeks ago whenever it did get spied. And so Mini at least has given us some nicer pictures of it here, so we get a clearer look at what it looks like. So in addition to the official pictures, though, there's no additional info on it that they're saying. They just confirmed that it's in development, which is good. That it's nice they confirmed it, that they're working on it. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it. I really love the Cooper SC, even though hardly anyone watched the review. I thought it was a really cool little car. If you don't need 4 doors, I think it's a very great little commuter thing. I would snap one up in a minute if I needed a little 2-door commuter vehicle. I love the electric Mini Cooper, and so making it faster with a GP version or whatever they're doing with the John Cooper Works thing, I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited to see what they do with that. And the fact that they're already testing out the Nürburgring and stuff makes me think that it should be coming fairly soon. So anyway, exciting to see that. But yeah, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So let me know your thoughts and everything in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you all continue to stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.